Hello everyone. Welcome to the IWA Get-Together on Building Connections through Networking. My name is Isabella Espíndola, and I am the focal point for young water professionals here in IWA. I am more than happy to organize this webinar because this is something that we have been working since, I believe that since July last year, right, Young? So we have been cooking this YWP Get Together for a while. I'm not your host today. We have an amazing speaker and two moderators, and they're gonna be joining soon. But in aiming to save time and make sure that you maximize your participation here, I'm gonna kick out our discussions today. And I hope that you can all see the slides on screen. And if you are not able to see, please type in the chat so I can follow up as soon as possible. Just a reminder that this is a safe space that we have during the webinar. So I would kindly ask that all of you to be kind to everyone that is attending, that you respect everyone, I respect all the delegates that are attending and the background, and you also stay engaged and during the meeting, and when you have like questions and comments that you also join on it. As I mentioned in the beginning, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. You can share your social media for connections and networkings on this. But again, be polite when you are using the chat on this. We have two amazing moderators today. So Francisca Braga and Hayat Haza. They are both members of the YWP Steering Committee. Francisca is part of the Denmark YWP chapter, and Hayat is also linked with the IWA YWP Canada chapter. They will be taking over during the Q&A part of it. More practical and logistics information. This event, this IWA YWP Get Together, it will be recorded and is going to be available online on the IWA Connect Plus. Again, Connect Plus is a platform that we have for IWA members. So if you are a member, you can have access to it. The speakers, in this case, the speaker is responsible for all the copyright permissions of the work, and everything that is presented does not necessarily reflect the opinion that we have in IWA. This event is being held on Zoom via a meeting format, so you are free to introduce yourself and use the chat function. I will kindly ask that you don't unmute yourself during the presentations, but during the Q&A, you are more than welcome to do so. If you are not an IWA member, I am very biased because I like my work. I like working with young people. For those that have been following our activities, you know how passionate I am about engaging YWPs on it. And I see that IWA, we do a lot for YWPs. So you can join our platform, our association online on it. And we have like several opportunities for you to get engaged in IWA, not only as a member, but becoming very active in the water sector per se. If you have any questions and comments regarding, please feel free to reach out to me. You can type the questions that you have in the chat and we can follow up after. Our agenda for today, as I mentioned, we have the moderators, and Young is gonna be taking over soon, and we will have some discussions and activities being held during the webinar. So be prepared to speak and to network during this event. And then we have a list of upcoming IWA events that are happening, which I do recommend that you all join to, I would say, to increase and get better and enhance your networking skills. Without further delay, I would like to invite Young Villa to join us online and do this presentation about effective networking for water professionals, targeting young water professionals. Young Villa has been a long-standing member from IWA and has been contributing a lot to youth engagement. And I'm proud to say that we have been working also since my start in IWA Young, I believe. And we are currently in the journey of being not being anymore like a YWP and being a senior professional. Young has been part of the IWA YWP steering committee. He was part of the first cohort of the IWA and Grenfell's Youth Fellowship, and he currently works in ADB and continues supporting the engagement of young people in the water sector. So, Young, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing from my side.
Thank you, Isabella, and I'm so happy to be part of the YWP network again for an hour at least. So as Isabella mentions, my name is Yang Villa. I used to be part of the YWP steering committee just before this current term of officers. I'm still very much engaged with the IWA in various capacities, and I'm currently based in Manila, Philippines as a program manager for the Asian Development Bank. I'm very happy to see that there's a lot of interest about networking. And I think this speaks a lot to the interest, especially amongst young water professionals, to improve how they connect within IWA. And so I wanted to cover a few topics today. And I might start with just a little bit of myth busting. A lot of us have a wrong idea about networking. I'd also like to clarify what networking versus connecting might mean, and if this resonates with you, and also stress the point of why we need to network. And then I'm going to go into the real meat of this presentation, which is looking at the common challenges and barriers that are faced, not just by young water professionals, by everyone. You can be over 35 like me and still face these challenges and barriers. And then I'm going to share some of the more game-changing mindsets and attitudes. And this for me is key in this presentation because I can give you tips. It's easy to give tips. I can give you, step by step how to do A, B, and C. But I think the real change should happen firstly, cognitively and emotionally. Like, how do you prepare yourself for networking, especially when you're feeling some challenging emotions like lack of confidence and so on. And then I'm going to end with a number of these tips and step-by-step procedure, so to speak, of how to get better at three particular skill categories that I think are critical for networking. In the middle, be prepared to interact and engage with your other fellow participants in the webinar. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you during that. Okay, let's start with some myth busting. The first big myth is this thing that we always hear. It's not what you know, it's who you know. As if saying that networking alone can build you a career. Newsflash, it doesn't. Networking is just to support your career. At the end of the day, what really matters is what you do and what value you bring to the table. So don't just focus all of your energy on networking. Think of it as a support mechanism. So, how to advance in your career? It's a mix of who you know, but it's more than that. It's who knows you, and people will know you for who you are and what you do. So, focus on what you do, not on who you know. Second myth. Oh, networking is not for me because I'm not extroverted. I'm very shy. I'm an introvert. People think you need to be loud and outgoing to network successfully, and I think that's not true. You just need to be authentic. And you don't need to be loud and full of extrovert energy to be able to pull something like talking to somebody. You just need to be yourself. And it's very, very important to stress this throughout the rest of my slides. Authenticity. The last one, and my favorite myth is some people say, oh, I don't engage in networking because that's just for sleazy sellers. They think that when somebody approaches them during conferences or during events, they're bound to be sold something. And that might be true a lot of the times, especially when you're in an expo, you're walking around, people approach you, they want to do business with you. But for me, the truth of the matter is we're all selling something. If you're in research, you're selling ideas. As a program manager, I'm selling my program. I need to get funding. So this kind of dynamic means that networking is for all of us. So the better we get at networking, the better it is for our careers and our professions, regardless of whether you're doing sales or not. So now, with all of these myth busts taken out of the way, I'd like to take a look at how networking and connecting is different. I understand the bad rap that networking gets. And sometimes when you hear the word networking, again, you feel like it turns you off because some people think of networking in a transactional manner. You know, you exchange business cards, you collect business cards, and there are people out there who do this. They literally just collect business cards so that they can call on this person whenever they need them. For a transactional networker, success means many people have heard of them or know about them. So the end game for them is popularity and fame. And I don't personally, for me, I try to stay away from such people. But if you have the self-awareness to not do this for fame and popularity, please don't just do this for popularity and fame. Another key characteristic of a transactional networker is they just focus on having a large contact base, again, collecting business cards. And because of this, the tendencies for transactional networkers to put on a facade, it's not really them. They need to put on a front because this is what gets them business. So what I would like to propose as an antidote to the transactional networking style is establishing meaningful connections. When I go out to conferences, I think it has taken me several years to learn this, but I'm just there to make friends, regardless of potentially using that connection or whether I will even need to reach out to them in the future. I just like making friends. And eventually, over the years, I've made friends and really family within IWA. And again, that required a shift in thinking. I don't need to do transaction with you for me to be friends with you. The second is I measure success these days by when people know when to contact me or when to call me because they know what value I add to the table. Oh, let's reach out to Yang because Yang knows this or Yang can do this or Yang can help us with this. That's good because when you're raising your profile, it shouldn't be just because you're loud. It should be because they know people, they know that you are going to add value to what they do. And this kind of meaningful connection attitude focuses on quality relationships and again, going beyond the first impression. So now that we know the distinction between connecting and networking, I'm still going to use the term networking very loosely in this in the rest of the talk. I will be, interchangeably using connecting and networking in this manner. But for the entirety of this conversation, I'd like you to think in terms of creating and establishing meaningful connections, not just for transactions. My last introduction slide, I guess, I know this is a very long introduction. Why do we need to network? The fact that you're here means that you understand the need and benefit and advantage of networking for professional development because it grows your credibility, that sort of thing. So it's good for you. But I'd also like to emphasize networking is good for the association, it's good for the water sector. And IWA is a large network of, I forget the number, but of thousands of water professionals globally. To think of it like your brain, the more networks and synapses that are connecting your brain cells, then that's good for you. And it's the same for the association. So now let's move on to some really heavy hitting issues. Common challenges and barriers, especially of young people in networking. The first of them is imposter syndrome. This feeling that you're not good enough to approach someone, you don't want to waste their time, you are not deserving of an audience with certain people. That's why you prefer to be a wallflower. And the imposter syndrome, trust me, stays with you for a very, very long time, where we won't be able to address that in this webinar alone. But it is a very serious issue that confronts many professionals. And later on, I hope to give some tips on how to overcome imposter syndrome, if not completely, then at least in the moment. Another common challenge and barrier is that even if you get an audience with somebody and you manage to connect with them, once you're talking to them, you feel so self-conscious. Like you're saying wrong words, like what you're putting on the table is garbage. Sometimes, is there something on my teeth? Do I look funny to them? Is my English correct? So all of these things add to the anxiety of trying to network and connect with someone. And a common challenge and barrier is just we don't have enough energy, especially in a conference. We're tired, we've been at it the entire day. So, how do I sustain that? A lot of the socials, especially in IWA conferences, happen at the end of the day. So, how do I sustain that energy all throughout? The next set of things I want to talk about are the mindsets and attitudes that I think will help us overcome those challenges. And I want to start with the mindset shift before the tips, because again, you need to get the mindset and attitude right before you try to apply any of the tips I'm going to talk about later. And the first mindset shift is you have to think of building connections first, doing business later. Again, you're here to make friends, not necessarily to do business. This has radically changed the way I approach IWA conferences because then I had an agenda in mind. I need to meet this many people and give my cards and that sort of thing. But later on, I completely changed the energy I show up to these events. I just want to make friends. I just want to build those connections. And if meaningful connection is established, then maybe we can do business later. The second mindset is that curiosity wins people's trust. A common misconception, especially among young people, is that credibility wins people's trust. I beg to differ. So when we meet somebody new, there's a tendency for us to build ourselves up and build our profile and say, "Hey, my name is Yang and I work for the ADB and I've been in the business for 16 years." You go into a verbose mode of trying to build your credibility. But really, my experience, and this could differ, but my personal experience is that people win me over when they're curious, when they ask me really good questions, when they're interested, when they establish a two-way conversation, not a one-way conversation. So I'd like you to think about this. How can you demonstrate curiosity and therefore win somebody's trust? And the last mindset shift that can hopefully help you overcome the imposter syndrome, at least in the moment, is to remind yourself that, you know what, people, especially in IWA, are genuinely nice. They have good intentions. They're not out to get you. No one is going to point out to you, you have bad English. No one is going to be rude to you. So just let it go, take that first step, and overcome your imposter syndrome when it speaks to you the loudest by reminding yourself, you know what? Yang looks like a nice person. I'm gonna go and try to talk to him. Um, and in my experience, again, it pays off if you overcome this imposter syndrome. Now let's look at three skill categories, I'd like to say, that would help you get better at networking. These three skill categories are initiation, number two is activation, and number three is signaling. And under these skill categories, I'm just going to give some tips and pointers on how to do that. The first is initiation. How do you initiate contact or initiate a conversation with somebody? I'd like to start with a conference setting because this book that I read many years ago has been my Bible in attending conferences. It's called Never Eat Alone. And raise your hand in the audience if you've ever came across this book. It's fantastic. Keith Ferrazzi wrote an entire chapter on being a conference commando. So there was a time back in what 2016, 2017, I'd like to think of myself as a conference commando. These days, when I look back at the tips he gives, some of them I don't do anymore. It doesn't work for me. But I'm going to share with you six of the tips that are still, for me, really valuable. The first one is what he calls 7 Ps. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. And please excuse the English. And this really speaks to your preparedness to show up in a conference setting. You don't go there and just go with the flow. You go there with some agenda. Some flexibility can go into this agenda, but be prepared. Know your pitch. Try to look for people beforehand that you would like to connect with. Have that kind of objective in your head when you show up in conferences. A second tip is know your targets and gather intel. Most conferences nowadays, especially the bigger ones like IWA congresses, Stockholm Water Week, Singapore Water Week, they provide you, once you're registered, with a database of who's going. Take the time to look at them and really see who would be valuable for me to connect. And if somebody catches your attention, then gather intel about them. There's a lot of ways to respectfully stalk somebody these days, and LinkedIn is going to provide you with a lot of those. And this is going to be critical for you because if you have a point of connection and rapport with someone, it's easier to initiate conversation. You can approach, hey, Yang, I read your work on youth, or Isabella, I know that you're very passionate about transboundary water. Can we, and then the conversation leads naturally. The third is to act early. And acting early means before the conference. So if you know that somebody is going to be a keynote, drop them an email, drop them a message on LinkedIn and say, I know you're going to be speaking at the next IWA Congress in Glasgow. I'm really looking forward to that. And if you have the time before or after your speech, I would love to connect with you and have a chat with you. Something as simple as that. Number one is going to put you on the radar for that important person. Number two will give you confidence to approach them in real life when you see them. Number three, it's also good for that speaker. You know why? Because it boosts their confidence. Oh, somebody's going to is really interested in the speech that I'm going to deliver. So it's win-win for everyone. Now, when you do this, you won't always get a response, but it's worth a shot. Number four, use Q&A strategically during these events and these conferences. Not everyone is going to be a speaker. Some of us are going to be in the audience, but that doesn't mean we cannot show up and give a good impression. That's why you use your Q&A strategically. The best questions I get when I am a speaker are those that really get me to think. It's not the long-winded questions. It's the questions that challenge me to think further, extend the logic of my presentation, give an alternate perspective. So prepare questions and use them strategically. Now, strike before the iron is hot is similar to the earlier tip on acting early, but this is specific to when this just before the speakers goes up to the floor. So when a keynote speaker, for example, after they deliver their speech, they become hot real estate. Everybody wants a piece of their time, and you'll never be able to catch on to them. So why don't you do it before they speak? Again, reaching out to them and say, hey, I dropped you a note and I'm really excited with the speech that you're going to give today. Let's connect later. That's going to give a strong impression on the speaker. And the last tip from Keith Ferrazzi is work hard on breaks. Unfortunately, I still see a lot of people, say in IWA conferences, during the networking break, they're glued to their phones and their laptops. I think it's such a missed opportunity. Like, folks, this is literally called a networking break. So let's go out there and meet some people. Now, Keith very generously also provided us some tips on what not to do. Do not be these people. The ankle hugger. The ankle hugger is somebody who's just clinging on to one or two people and expecting them to take them around like it's a museum that they have to that they need a guide for. Don't be that person. The other is the celebrity hound. This is somebody who's just after the big stars of the conference or the celebrities. It's a little shady to say this, but you don't need to be in the celebrity circles to make the most of the conference. Sometimes, and from my experience, the best connections are not because they're a celebrity. It's because they genuinely are working on something very interesting, very value adding. So don't just go after the big names. Relish in the spontaneity of the situation. If you manage to connect with somebody, even if they're not a celebrity or a keynote speaker, then that's a good connection. And the third, it bears repeating, don't be a card dispenser, just giving your cards away, or a card amasser, just accepting as many cards as you can. Again, the point is not popularity or fame. It's not quality of connections. It's not quantity. It's quality of connections. Now let's move on to another set of tips, which is to have your elevator pitch ready. I know there's many materials out there on how to build an effective elevator pitch, but my best formula that I still do today is Rebecca Okamoto's formula. You can find her TED Talk on YouTube. And it's literally just three steps. I help blank achieve blank without blank. Just those three elements. So my personal elevator pitch is, hi, my name is Yang. I help utilities in Asia achieve transformation within a short period of time without paying for expensive consultants. That's it. Done in under 10 seconds. Done in what, 20 words? Notice in my pitch, I did not say how I do it. I did not even mention that I work for ADB. I did not mention my role. Things that other people would be keen to say as a first sentence of introduction. Hi, my name is Yang. I'm a program manager for the Asian Development Bank. If you introduce yourself like that, I don't really understand who you are. So I'd rather have a pitch that's going to make people follow up with a question. Really? No expensive consultants? How do you do that, Yang? And that's when the conversation deepens. Now, when you do this elevator pitch, don't word vomit. Don't fall into the temptation and the trap of, oh, I do this by, I have this program called the WOP for R, and we do the twinning and we get the funding from this. Stop. Leave room for people's curiosity. Let them ask the questions, and then you could breadcrumb with answers. This is how you get a conversation as interesting as you can. Now, it's your turn to do this activity. Isabella is going to place you randomly in breakout rooms. And please have somebody, you can take turns to deliver their elevator pitch following Rebecca Okamoto's formula. Keep your pitch under 10 seconds. Again, do not word vomit. Give it some thought and then deliver it. After that person speaks, others in the room can demonstrate their curiosity by asking questions. But this time, because of time, we only can get only one question per speaker. Again, it's an exercise in curiosity. And then let's move on to the next question. The next person. And then we'll all get back to the plenary afterwards. So, Isabella.
Okay. Yang, can I open the breakout rooms?
Yes, please.
Okay. Um, done.
All right, everyone's just coming back. Let's wait for the rest. Hi, welcome back.
Okay, we're back.
Welcome back. Okay, I think that's most of us back in the main room. I did get a good look around in the breakout rooms, and I can sense the hesitation amongst some of the rooms to get the conversation started. I sense the nerves. I think there's also a little bit of hesitation to use this formula for the elevator pitch. I certainly understand if it's new to you to try something different. Again, our default is always to say, hi, I'm name, and I am a blank, your profession or your job title, and I work at your organization. That is standard. You can still do that, but if you have the opportunity to try an elevator pitch, that would make for a really interesting conversation. I did hear some of you try the formula earlier in the breakout room. So kudos to that. I heard some comments about we need more practice with this. I completely agree, and I've got a framework for you to how to build your this elevator pitch later, a few slides on. Okay. I really liked that some of you also jumped on asking questions. If you hear something that you would like to follow through with the speaker, you jumped on that and established the start of a conversation. All right, so now you're in a conversation. What do you do? The impulse for many of us is to listen to respond. Listen so that we have something smart to say after the speaker is done. And so we volley back and forth, just trying to prove that we are smart enough to understand what they're trying to say. And I think that's a missed opportunity, because what we really should be doing is listen to understand. It's okay to look dumb. I love being the dumbest person in the room, because that gives me permission to ask questions. And when I ask questions, I learn more. And you will notice a lot of the, well, not all, but a lot of the senior professionals, especially in IWA, are really, really good listeners. They don't hog the energy in the room. They share it. They allow others to talk. And this is how you get a conversation going. Listen more than you talk. Now, some people might say, well, it's a personality trait of mine, that I'm an extrovert, which means I'm loud and I'm energetic. But you know what? It has nothing to do whether you're an introvert and an extrovert. Adam Grant is, of course, an organizational psychologist, and what he's sharing here is that extroverts are similar to introverts in terms of listening. Listening is not a personality trait, it's a skill. And because it's a skill, it can be developed. So the next time you're in conversation with someone, try to ask more questions than you are trying to speak. Now, I received a list of the questions that you sent beforehand, and a lot of you asked, how do I reach out to somebody higher up when they don't even know me? How do I get in touch with somebody on LinkedIn? Or how do I talk to somebody who doesn't, know that what I do? And in sales, there's this thing called cold calling. And I believe this term is now pretty popular, whether you're in sales or not. But cold calling is when you're trying to reach out to somebody you don't even know, and vice versa. I think there's an art to doing the cold call. Sometimes you might read an interesting paper and you see their contact detail and you want to reach out to them, or you find somebody on LinkedIn, you want to reach out, but how do you make that initial contact? The first is, and this is especially true when you're reaching out via email, just be honest about how you got their contact. I got it from your paper that was published here, or I got to know you from a common friend, that sort of thing. It establishes trust. You can also ask help from a wingman, somebody who, or wing woman, a wing person who knows this other person. So try to be smart with your network. If you know you're 2 degrees away from a very important person, maybe you can ask those friends of yours to help you reach out. Now, the most important thing to a cold call is to build rapport by focusing on them, not you. Focusing on you means that you're going to word vomit about what you do and who you are and what you work for and your interests. And I just think that's wrong, because nobody has got extra 5 minutes of their day reading a very long email from a stranger on the internet. So make it about them and make the focus about how you are interested in their work. So I put some prompts here that can be useful. Hey, I saw your post about youth engagement. Hi, Isabella. I noticed that you manage the YWPs. How can I be more active? Hi, Hayat. Congratulations on your recent any achievement. I saw you speak, or I saw your article. I read it. Great insights on this. I'm inspired by the work that you do or that you've done. So again, all of these statements build rapport by focusing on the person, not on you, and why they are worthy of why you are worthy of their attention. And then it's very important at the end of that, don't just flatter people. Clearly state your intention. What do you need? If your intention is to sell something, just be straightforward. I am a salesperson for this company and I've got a product that I think would be good for you. Go ahead and say that. It's a lot better than trying to beat around the bush and then invite them to a call, and then that call turns into a sales call and nobody knows what is going on. I had recently had a call literally about this. Like, they reached out and said, hey, I'm interested in the work that you do. And then it ended up being a sales call. And like, I felt cheated by this interaction. They got a call with me, but I did not feel like I wanted to buy from them at the end of that conversation. So clearly state what you need. The best cold calls or cold messages I get on LinkedIn simply say, hey, I know that you work for the Asian Development Bank, and I'd really like to land an opportunity or a job. Can we have a chat one of these days so that I can get tips? That's straightforward. I like it. Or somebody reached out to me and said, I read this article that you wrote, and I'm interested because I'm writing my own research. I would like to cross-check a few things with you. And I said, yeah, let's go. So clearly state your intention, clearly state what you need from this person. Now, things you should avoid doing when you're doing a cold message. If you're too verbose, you're losing their attention. Again, nobody has got an extra 5 minutes of their busy day reading a long email. Keep it brief and to the point. You can discuss details later. It's similar to the elevator pitch. You're not going to give everything in a single dump. Leave some for them to be curious about. And then second thing, please be reasonable with what you're asking for. I still get messages saying, "Hi, can you please write a letter of reference for me?" I'm like, "I don't even know you. I literally just accepted your connection invite 2 minutes ago. Why are you asking me to write your reference letter?" I also once many years ago, I was invited by IWA to deliver a keynote speech, a joint YWP keynote speech. I think this was 10 years ago, 2016. And then I reached out to then the UN Special Rapporteur, may she rest in peace, Caterina de Albuquerque, and I said, I cringed when I remember what I wrote. I said something like, "Can you help me with some ideas I have for the speech?" I was like, "Oh my God, that was so, firstly, so presumptuous and so unreasonable to ask of somebody so high up and so important." So when we're reaching out, be reasonable with that, with what you're asking for. Don't ask people to help you with your speeches. All right. So that's the first set of skills. The second set of skills is activation. Now you've made that connection. Now you've got their contact. Now you're on speaking terms. How do you follow up? So there are two ways. The first one is to do an immediate follow-up after you meet them, say during a conference, you got their contact. When you follow up, it would be interesting, it would be good to mention something unique to your interaction or to your experience together. And in IWA conferences, there's no shortage of unique experiences because there's a cultural night, there are interesting dinners, there's the gala dinner. So if you meet somebody under those special circumstances, mention it. Say something like, "Hey, I remember us dancing together on the dance floor, and that was really fun. I would like to stay in touch." Or say something like, "I really enjoyed your talk, and I would like to keep in touch to talk more about whatever topic you want to talk about." Another tip for this is provide the information or material that you promise to deliver, especially if they're waiting for it. So just be good on your promise. If they ask for more information about your project, send it to them. And then it's always a good thing to end with curiosity. Again, it's about them, not you. So ask, "I'd really like to know more about the program you're running and see where this potential collaboration might land." Very easy stuff. Now, the difficult thing is after that first contact. What do you do? How do you reach out again? Like, I feel awkward reaching out again. Two ways you can do that for later. Number one is to send a message along the lines of, "This reminded me of you. You read a nice article? You think it's for Yang? Send it to him. Hey, I know that you're really passionate about wastewater management. Look at this article." So this sends a message to the person, "I still remember what you want, what you're passionate about, what you're interested in." The second thing is sharing something of value. "Hey, I saw this job post in World Bank, and I don't know if you're interested, but this might be of interest to you. You might want to take a look at this." These things send the signal and a message that you're still thinking about them, you still remember them, and you're keeping that relationship alive. Let's move on to the last set of skills, which is signaling. Signaling is when we broadcast to the wider universe and the world, the water sector. And we typically use LinkedIn for that. There's also, of course, IWA Connect, other social media platforms. But for professional networking, of course, we use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn to post about two things and only two things. Number one, what I care about. Could be diverse topics. They're not necessarily topics I work on. For example, I don't work on digital technologies for customer engagement, but I care about it. So recently, I just shared an article about it. I also use LinkedIn to signal what I am currently up to. It's not just saying I recently attended this webinar. It's more than that. It's saying, what did I take away from this webinar? So share something to your audience. And if you use LinkedIn this way, you can attract the right people for your content. And that's how you build your online presence. Don't clickbait. Don't do this for the likes. It's never about those metrics. Again, quality of connections over just popularity and fame. If you want to see inauthentic, cringy, inappropriate, and attention-seeking clickbait posts, follow this account on Instagram. It's called Best of LinkedIn, and you can see examples. I thank God every day when I check this Instagram account that I have never found any of my posts in there. It means I must be doing something. But take a look at these because these are funny, but also will show you what not to do when you're engaging and posting something on LinkedIn. Again, at Best of LinkedIn on Instagram. But it still doesn't answer our question. What do I say and in what voice do I say it? I noticed also this during your exercise. You don't know yourself enough to come up with a catchy elevator pitch, or you hesitate to do that. So this is called branding, knowing who you are so you know how to project yourself to other people and to the world. This is what is called the story brand framework. We don't have time to go through this, but please pick up this book or look for a resource that talks about the story brand framework. One thing I will notice about the story brand framework is that it's not about you. You are not the hero. You are not the main character. The main character are the people you want to serve. For me, that's utilities in Asia and the Pacific. I am just there to support and help. And then with this 7-part framework, it will help you flesh out your story brand so that it will be easier for you to share later on to an audience. I'm going to move on to my final thoughts because I realize we're going kind of over time. I just want to share 2 of the best compliments I've received, and hopefully this gets you thinking about networking. The first one is somebody wrote on LinkedIn, "We've never met, but I feel like I already know you." This is high compliment for me. It means that this person is just reading my posts, but they feel like they have some rapport and connection with me. I love that. And the next time I see this person, we would be like long lost friends just reconnecting. This talks about authenticity. If you use your voice in any social media platform, that is you and only you. And the second compliment is somebody telling me, "Thank you for always being totally present with me." Listen to absorb, listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. The point is not to look smart. The point is to be authentic, genuine, and always curious. So with these final thoughts, I'm going to end. I hope we have some time for Q&A, but thank you so much for your attention and for humoring me with listening to what I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Yang. And I'm pretty sure we can move on to the next segment now, which is going to be the Q&A section. We want to definitely give a lot of time. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people have a lot of the questions. So what we're going to do now is we will open the floor for questions. You can raise your hand and we'll call out your name, and you can ask your question to Yang. So, anyone who would like to go first, please raise your hand in asking questions to Yang.
I think Constanza has her hand up, like
Yeah,
her
okay.
physical hand up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm raising my physical hand because I cannot find the button to do it. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, a very interesting presentation, very interesting webinar, very useful. So yeah, took a lot of learnings from this. I wanted to ask, well, I had already the chance to participate in many industry events over the last year, and I'm a very social person, but sometimes it gets very exhausting combining all the presentations, or maybe I have to present. I'm also in sales, so we also have stands sometimes, and then going to these networking events and the breaks, it feels like, yeah, I need to be present all the time. So I wanted to ask if you have any resources or advice on how to dose the energy across the events of several days, so we can, yeah, make the most out of them.
Thank you, Constanza. Tough work. And sometimes I marvel at the energy level of IWA staff in getting all of these done. Like at the end of the conference, you can just see them like longing to get out of the room. But that's what the job calls for. This is the reason why we don't do it on a daily basis. But for sales, it's different. I understand. Um, for big conferences, I've learned to pace myself. I'm not getting any younger, which means that I can't. I need my sleep. I need my skincare. I need some time away from all of the social energy. And anything I need in the moment to recharge my social battery, I'm going to do it. So if I need to excuse myself, and take a moment, I will do that. So that when I come back, I show up as the yang that needs to be there, to be present again. So take that as you will, whatever you need at the moment. Just listen to your body is the most important thing I can tell you, and don't force it when it doesn't feel right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next question. Anyone would like to raise their hand? Anyone else? So Yang, okay, I did see that there's someone who raised their hand. Who is this? Okay, Manish, please go ahead.
So your first point was
We can't hear you. Could you be a little louder?
hello.
We still can't hear you.
Very faint, Manish.
Yeah, very faint.
Am I audible now?
No.
Sorry.
Perhaps you could type, Manish, and then I'll endeavor to answer.
Okay. Anyone else? Virginia, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Ian, for the really good presentation. Lots of insights and ideas for the next conferences. And I want to ask you something, because there is this concept, I think, or used to be as social persons and outgoing or extroverted, as you said. And I have been listening or also thought about this today, that this can also be a learned skill. Someone that doesn't know how to do, but then we learn with those kinds of prompts and things like this. And I would like to ask how it was for you, this learning path, if you were always this person, because you are a really good presenter and seems like open to it, but if you have some tips for this path, like, I don't know, workshops, opportunities like this, or how can we do this path to learn and try to be more this networking or open to this person. Thanks.
Thanks, Virginia. Yeah, I guess where I'm coming from is also because, as you said, I'm just naturally very energetic. I've got energy for days and for hundreds of people. But I also know people who are more introverted, and they like to shy away from the spotlight and still network well. And I think it's because they figured out what quality relationships mean to them. For them, it's not about talking to 100 people during the conference. It's having a really insightful conversation during the coffee break. That's one. But my advice, if you really want to push it, is to challenge yourself beyond your comfort zone. And that means that every single time you have the chance, just remember, I don't do this on a daily basis, but this is good practice. So if you have that growth mindset, then it doesn't demand that you talk to everybody in the room. It just demands that you talk to one more person beyond what you're comfortable with. So yeah, we all have different characteristics. We all have different energy levels, but all of us can practice more and more.
Great. Thank you. Any further questions? Anyone would like to raise their hands? Okay. There's one question actually in the chat, and that is how to really connect with people during conference when we meet hundreds of people per day. I think you answered that, but the follow-up question she had was how to network outside of conferences. Yeah.
So again, LinkedIn is a fantastic place to network outside of conferences. Um, what I like to say is get out of the water sector every once in a while also. Like we think of IWA conferences are fantastic because there are specialist groups, there are many experts in your field, but people don't leave their comfort zone. They're still in that bubble. We're in IWA conferences. So that's one. Expand beyond what you know. Second is try to attend events that are not necessarily aligned to what you do on a daily basis. And that for me means I don't just attend water events. I also attend something like a green city event or a transport event. Who knows what I might discover? So I learn new things. I also connect with new people.
Yeah, great. And Manish had a question. He's put it in the chat now. Personal cognitive and emotional perception to open up is very important, as you mentioned. How to overcome that when approaching someone, what the other colleagues will think about you or me.
So I briefly talked about this earlier about being so self-conscious or feeling the imposter syndrome. But what helps me overcome that personally is to think that, you know what, people are genuinely nice. They're not going to bite me back. And there's no harm. There's no physical harm that I will feel. Any feeling, any insecurity, any doubt that I will feel, these are all emotions, and I can always get over emotions. As long as that person doesn't hit me physically, then there is no harm. So why should I be afraid?
Um, Great, thank you. There's another question. How to improve soft skills as just like listening you mentioned on a daily basis, like mentorship, books, podcasts, references. Could you give some advice?
My top tip for practicing better listening is to be present for all of your conversations. And that means dropping your phone, dropping any distractions. And it can be the same set of people. You don't have to go out there and meet new people to practice this. Like, why don't you have a really thoughtful, meaningful conversation with your partner, with your boss the next time you approach them? So I don't think you can learn listening from reading books or listening to podcasts. There will be tips, but practice is going to get you further. Now, if you've got a mentor, it's very, very important to talk to them on a regular basis. And be honest about your challenges, because they might be able to give you lots of tips. But even the relationship with a mentor, it's more about listening. You're not proving to your mentor that you're good. You just need to learn as much as you can from them. And listening is how you get there.
Thanks. Okay, great. Another question from Constanza. Um, how can we maintain connections built long term?
I'm biased. Attend IWA conferences is one.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see them regularly. Number two is yes, even Constanza says yes. The second one is talk to them virtually on LinkedIn if you can. Again, remember those tips about I thought of you, or this might interest you. Those kinds of things, small things will build that relationship over time. You cannot plan a relationship. You cannot say, I want this relationship. It really takes effort for each and every one of those relationships to go long term.
Great. Anyone else who would like to raise their question or put a question in the chat? If not, I have a few questions for Yang as well. So one question we actually got, Yang, and this was actually before the start of the event. We had a list of questions people had posted. What are the challenges you have faced in networking? Personally, and what advice would you like to give people?
So one of them I've talked about, which is imposter syndrome. It never really goes away. Second is I genuinely felt some people being antagonistic towards me. And it could be that I was imagining it, but I really, really felt that I wasn't welcome. And how I overcame that was I stuck it out with the people who welcomed me. And those were I'm not saying this but I'm saying this because it was a true experience. I stuck it out with the YWPs because they were the ones who welcomed me. They were the ones who said, "Hey, come here, let's go together, let's go get lunch together, let's go to this session together." And that helped me really build more confidence. And over time, when I've built my confidence with YWPs, that helped me a lot to also reach out to more senior people. It lessened the intimidation. They were helping me connect with senior professionals. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that really, firstly, you need to do practice every time you get a chance. But secondly, it's better done together. So as soon as you get a chance to be part of a YWP community, grab the opportunity. But the best way to take advantage of it is to pour in the same effort. You only get the benefits in a community and association commensurate to the effort that you put into it.
Great. So, I mean, that based on that, I had a follow-up question for you. You mentioned about connecting with senior professionals. What are the do's and don'ts when trying to connect with senior professionals? Would you like to mention to the group here?
Do be brief. Don't waste their time. Because, and we're not saying this because but they really are important people. It's not, don't take it against them when they're very busy, because they really are. That's why they're important people. So don't waste their time. Secondly, don't don't put the spotlight on you. How do I say this? Don't brag. Don't try to put the focus on you, because it can be off-putting. It can come across as egotistical when you're attention seeking. There you go. That's the term I was looking for. When people can feel when you're just looking for attention, especially and validation from senior people, and people will avoid you like the plague if you do that. So be brief, be concise, be to the point, but also be genuine.
Okay. Okay. I think, Natalia, I think you had a question just now on a similar note in the chat. I think hopefully Yang answered that question. But Yang, if you want to check that question again, it's working in the same institution. I want to know how to approach the senior professionals working in the same institution with you, but not closely with you, not in the same department, but relevant to your career.
Hey, I like this question because it means that you already have some targets in your immediate vicinity. That's good. That's good. Gather intel, know the people. So how do you reach to somebody? Theoretically, it should be easier because you're in the same institution. It's just a matter of the approach. And I would say genuinely express why you're interested in their side of the fence. You can say, "I'm really interested in the work that you're doing, and I know I'm from a different department, but I'd like to learn more." If you already have some collaboration ideas in mind, maybe you can drop that during the conversation as well. If they're very, very senior and you feel like you don't want to look like a fool when you approach them, try to talk people from within your team. If you have a mentor and a supportive boss and coach, ask them, "Hey, I'd really like to talk to the CEO, or not CEO, the senior manager of this other department, because can you help me?" So those are just some ways, but I don't know your specific constraints in doing this. Maybe it's a very, very large organization. But my experience in ADB is that there's not a lot of barriers for reaching out to people from the other side of the building. It's literally drop them a message on Teams, and yeah, we can have a coffee. Offering somebody coffee is very powerful, folks. If you have the budget, you can say, "Hey, coffee's on me. Let's go grab coffee." I've done that a couple of times, and I got my business done. That's number one. I got what I wanted from them, but I also made friends.
Great. Thank you so much. With this, we'll close the Q&A session. You're more than welcome to connect with Yang more on LinkedIn or through the email address he has provided. With this, I'll pass on the floor to Francesca so that we can close this session today. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Hayat. Isabella, could you, start sharing again the screen? So before we leave, we just have some upcoming events that we would like for you to be aware of, if you are not aware of. So one of them is the annual conference of the Young Water Professionals in China. if any of you is in China or is actually going there, it's a great opportunity. It's quite soon, so in some days. But the theme will be about like smart integration and innovative programs in industry transformation. So it's also a great way to network and to learn and to kind of like practice a bit what Yang said it here today. So please, if you are around, be free to join and get to know more about it in the QR code. The next one, Isabella, please. The next one, this is quite special for me because I'm the chair of the Young Water Professionals in Denmark. So you are more than welcome to participate in our national conference. That is always the highlight of the year for most of our chapters. It's in Aarhus in the north of Denmark, and it's in March. And the call for abstracts will be open until Friday. Next one. We have another national conference, this time from UK. They also still have the abstract submissions until the end of the month. So please go and check more information about it. It's always a quite nice way to get to know people if you are around UK and you would like to participate in. And then one of our last conferences from this year from the Young Water Professionals, it's the European conference that it will be in Milano in June from the 14th to the 17th. The call of papers are still open, so go and check it. It's a great experience. That is not just a national conference. There will be a lot of young water professionals, even around the world, not just European conference. So feel free to check it out and hope to see you there. That it will be a great way for you to start networking as well once again. And then also the big events that also Yang talked about it. We have the World Water Congress and exhibition that probably already heard about it, that it will be in Glasgow in UK at the end of this year, more or less in October, the beginning of October. So it's really, really a great Congress, and it's always a great opportunity, as also Yang mentioned, to see friends that we just see it in these kind of like conferences. So if you have the opportunity, please join, because it's a great experience. And then at the end, also I heard in some of my breakout rooms that actually some people were not really aware in terms of young water professionals. So you can use the discount that it's here for the 20% for a new membership, and you can use this discount until the end of the year, so until the 31st of December. So please join and be active in your chapters, because it's a really great career-wise, but also you'll make friends for life, and we have kind of like a water family. So feel free to join and if you have any doubts, you can always contact us regarding chapters and how to become more active. And now the last slide. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yang, for presenting and to always give your excellent opinions. It's always a pleasure. You can always contact us if you want also to get to know more information, or Isabella. And thank you for all of you that participated. It was great discussions and also the Q&A sessions. And now feel free also to practice your elevator pitch and your networking skills that you may need in some of these next conferences. And hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.